Yo, what up, gamers? Vapora Dark here. I'm here bringing you a video live from the PBE. This is the first time I do one of these things, because every recent champion release, I mean, there's been so few ADCs released lately, and even the ones that were released, I wasn't really that interested in checking them out. Akshan, though, he looks really interesting. He's like, if you've checked out his kit already on YouTube, you can see that it's a bit of a crazy kit. And most of all, it looks really fun to play. He's really mobile. He looks like he's got some huge playmaking potential. So I'm really excited to see his release, and in the meantime, I'm also excited to show you guys what he's like. And also learn what he's like for myself. So I've already briefly taken a look at his abilities just before going live here, or starting recording the video, just so I can get a brief idea of what his abilities are like, so I can help explain it to you guys. We'll start with his passive. After launching an attack, Akshan will fire an additional shot for so-and-so damage. He can cancel the shot to instead gain 56 move speed, scaling, decaying over 1 second. So basically the first part of that is basically his autos are Lucian passive. They are permanently Lucian passive. He does not need to cast an ability to get this double shot. Every single auto attack he does is automatically this double shot. So that's the resemblance with Lucian passive, but you could consider it a bit stronger. He can cancel the shot to gain movement speed, so instead of doing the second shot always, you can actually just choose to cancel the auto. Cancel the thing after the first auto, and that'll instead give you some movement speed. You don't really notice it too much at this level, but it scales a bit, and I think it also scales a bit with attack speed. We'll get to that later. So you'll definitely notice it a bit more later on into the game. Second half of his passive, because obviously it's a new champion. Obviously he's not just gonna have one passive, guys, duh. Every 3 hits from attacks or abilities deals an additional 45 magic damage. But that's not it. Also, against champions, Akshan also gains so-and-so shield for 2 seconds. Shield scales with level and also scales with AD, with 40% AD, so that's actually pretty big. As you can see here, hit them twice, hit them 3 times, suddenly magic damage, and you get the shield as well. And here it says the second attack always deals 100% damage to minions. So that means that's actually going to be making it very useful for pushing, I assume. Critically strikes at 30% effectiveness. I'm assuming that's just referring to champions. We'll see when he comes out. The first attack move speed scales with 100% attack speed. So that means that, I'm guessing that means that if you cancel your auto like this and you get the move speed, that move speed also scales with attack speed. I think that's what that's referring to. So moving on to his Q, Akshan throws a boomerang that deals so-and-so damage. Actually, it's got a really big AD ratio. That's pretty neat. Extending the range each time an enemy is hit. Champion hits grant Akshan even more move speed, decaying over 1 second. And also deals 55% damage to non-champions, so the wave clear is nerfed a bit, and enemies hit are briefly revealed. Okay, so here's what it looks like normally. Here's what it looks like when it hits a champion. Here's what it looks like when it hits 2 champions. Here's what it looks like when it hits 3 champions. Here's what it looks like when it hits 4 champions. You can get some pretty nutty range with that, which is pretty cool. But obviously, this is the dream scenario. You're almost never going to be getting a boomerang that has this much range. But, you know, it could be pretty handy. You can pull off some pretty nice plays with this in the right scenarios. Yeah. So moving on to his W, going rogue, passive enemy okay, this is pretty nutty. I did not, if you have only seen the reveal, you may not have seen this. But passive, any champions that kill Akshan's allies become scoundrels for 60 seconds. When Akshan gets a takedown on a scoundrel, he gains 100 gold. I didn't even know that part. What? Resurrects the slain allies and removes all of the scoundrels. Resurrects the slain allies. So let's say there's a Katarina wreaking havoc on your team, and you just managed to barely kill her. Well, what that does is revives all 4 of your teammates. If she gets a quadra and then you kill her, your 4 teammates just instantly revive. So, okay, when I heard about this first, I thought it meant that they would literally revive on the spot, and I was like, what the fuck is that? That is so broke. No, it's not that absurd. They do respawn on the fountain, but an instant revive on all, like, any teammate that dies to a champion that you proceed to kill. That pretty unique, for sure, and potentially extremely strong. I mean, it gives the enemy team, like, very little time to capitalize on your teammates' deaths if you can just respawn at any moment, doesn't it? And that's just the passive. Active. Akshan becomes camouflaged for 2 seconds or indefinitely while he is near a wall or in brush. Akshan also gains 80 movement speed and 0.12 missing mana regen while moving towards Scoundrels. I don't know what the point is of him gaining 0.12 missing mana. I don't know how much that even... I don't know how if that's a lot. I don't know, man. I don't know. He gets mana regen, whatever. Anyway, he also gains movement speed. Anyway, important thing is camouflage. So, you press W, you become camouflage. Sort of like Twitch. As you can see, it does not last very long. However, it does get extended if he's near walls or in bushes. So that actually makes it pretty nuttly, potentially. Because let's take a look at how much you can achieve with this ability if you can actually stick near walls. Here I'm stealthed, here I'm stealthed, here I'm stealthed, I'm still stealthed, I'm still stealthed. I can walk from here to this brush, still stealthed. Stick near this wall, stick near this wall, stick near this wall. Get in the brush. Get to this wall. Now, I don't have tier 2 boots. If I had tier 2 boots, you could see that I would reach this wall before my stealth runs out. You can actually potentially traverse the entire map invisible. So that is actually potentially pretty nutty. Obviously, the utility of this ability actually becomes much greater the more your move speed is. And also that's also going to be useful, therefore, that you gain 80 move speed when moving towards Scoundrels, I guess, potentially, in very niche situations. But, you know, so basically, if you've got, like, tier 2 boots, the potential of your going rogue active is going to be much greater than if you're just moving with your, well, 0 right now. But even at tier 0, you can see, I mean, I can move across so much of the map, just completely invisible. Obviously, well, I say completely invisible. It is camouflage. It's basically Twitch Q. You can be seen if you are, you know, within this range. But obviously, you're going to bypass wards. The enemy team are going to need pinks to see you. I mean, this would be really nutty if he's a jungler. I don't know if he's going to be viable in the jungle. I haven't tested him at all yet. But, you know, I think he's intended to be a mid laner, so these could be some really insane ganks onto side lanes. I mean, he can literally stealth on the lane already. You could even, like, potentially walk over here, just completely bypassing whatever ward is here, just walk all the way around, or just walk through here. You can spend so much of your time invisible, and it's going to set up some insane ganks. So if he's going to be viable mid lane or in the jungle, that is really insane. Basically the new Evelyn. While active, Akshan also sees trails leading to Scoundrels. I didn't even know that, but yeah, okay, so that's another part of the W, as if what we've seen isn't enough. So, next ability, E, Heroic Swing. First cast, Akshan fires a grappling hook attaching to the first terrain hit. Okay, this ability doesn't make sense unless I explain the whole thing. Alright, so second cast, Akshan swings around the terrain, repeatedly firing at the nearest enemy for so-and-so damage per shot. Third cast, Akshan dives off the rope, firing a final shot. Colliding with an enemy champion or terrain ends the swing early. Champion takedowns refresh this ability's cooldown. Why not? Because we want him to be hypermobile, of course. Prioritizes and champions marked with dirty fighting, whatever, on hits while swinging are 25% effective. So I guess if you end up building Bork, maybe on hit items like Bork, maybe good on him because of his passive. Might just be another Lucian scenario though, where despite the synergy is not viable though. But because of the slight nerf to it on his E, I mean it is going to make on hit slightly effective, but it's not going to be crazy. So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see if Bork ever becomes viable on him. But anyway, as for the actual E, let's get to it. I'm still stuffed, by the way. So first cast, I just grapple onto a random wall. I guess it does time out after a bit. Second cast, I start swinging. If I want to end the cast early, I do the third cast, and I just do a slight dash at the end. Yeah, dives off the rope. I didn't even realize I meant dashing, but anyway. So that is some pretty neat mobility. I mean, I think the kind of mobility you can get here. If you're coming over here, if you want to move here into the river, you just whoop. I kind of fucked that up. But you can actually, like, you can move across here so quick. Like, this is so much like... Imagine if this was movement speed, right? This is crazy amount of mobility. Look how much time it saves you if you need to move over here, you know? Does have a decently long cooldown, though. So it's not going to be crazy mobility, but, you know, you do get the reset on champion takedowns. So, I mean, potentially you're going to see some crazy Akshan plays with that. Also, as for the part where you fire at the nearest enemy, repeatedly, healing so-and-so damage per shot. So let's just clear some of these dummies. Let's keep the one dummy. Here's what that looks like. That was how much damage? What? It bugged. It's not showing me the damage, the total. Okay, hang on. Let's get a little bit closer so the shots just continuously fire. See, that can deal quite a bit of damage. Let me just check that was. Alright. That is 462 damage just with my E. I don't have any AD. I don't have this ability maxed. That is a lot of damage. Granted, this is onto a target with 0 armor, so obviously it's not going to be quite that crazy against actual opponents. But this ability deals a lot of damage if in these kind of situations where you actually get to continuously hit them. Obviously, usually you're not going to be swinging around the rock. And the further away you are as well, like the lower the chances you actually have of just firing continuously at the target like the entire time. However, if you were just in a fight and you were near some terrain, both of you are near terrain, the closer you are to the terrain, the more you are going to be firing shots at the opponent, so that can lead to this crazy damage in those niche situations. Okay, now his ultimate, this one is very interesting. This is... Okay, I'll read this. Akshan locks onto a champion and begins overcharging his gun for up to 2.5 seconds. Oh, up to, so you can actually cancel early. Interesting, I didn't notice that. Storing up to 5 bullets. Recast, Akshan unleashes the stored bullets, each dealing so-and-so damage to the first enemy or structure hit. Wait, structure? Can you cast this on turrets? No, okay, so I guess it's... Okay, so it's blockable then. It's just like Caitlyn ult. Increased up to so-and-so damage based on missing health, so it's an execute. Bullets execute minions and apply lifesteal. Oh, it's also blocked by minions apparently. Bullet damage skills with critical strike chance and critical strike damage. So skills with crit, that's awesome. Anyway, here's what that looks like. As you can see, very long load time if you want to deal max damage. It's not incredibly useful for duels, at least in most situations. Oh, did I just recast that by accident? I think I did. Yeah, this is what that looks like if you just end the cast early. However, crazy thing is, this is, when I said it's kind of like Caitlyn ult, more than one way. This range is crazy. Right, look at this range. This is really high range. I don't think the range increases per level, like Caitlyn ult does. But, I mean, look at this. When I said it's not always going to be useful in duels, actually it can be pretty crazy in duels. I mean, imagine I'm low HP here, and we're in a really tight spot here in this duel. I'm like cutting away over here. I press R here, grab shot there, whatever that's called. Boom, look at this. Look at that range. I started off here, potentially I'm in a really tight spot here. I just R, then I E away. I can even just E first. You can actually cast your ultimate during your E. And that was the first thing I checked when I realized how much range this thing had. You can actually do it, look. Ah, fuck that up. Hang on. Okay. It's okay, it's hard to do it, but I mean... if it weren't handless... Well, either way, I mean, you can just do this. It's the same effect, pretty much. You can just get the fuck out of there and just get them the fuck out of here with that ultimate from a million miles away. As mentioned, it is an execute, so I mean, if you're in a really tight spot, I mean, this can be a really crazy play. There's gonna be no way for the enemy to actually win this duel if you manage to get away and also just execute them from a mile away. They need to finish you off before you can get this combo off. So the maximum bullets actually do increase per level. I also just noticed that. I guess the load time doesn't increase though. Let's just check what that looks like. Oh, actually, oh, you do... You charge for longer? That's at 3 seconds. Okay, the tooltip isn't saying anything about loading for longer. Might just be a visual bug. Yeah, actually, it's cutting the channel short, actually, at 0.5 seconds. So it's still 2.5 seconds. You just fire more bullets with the same charge time. That is pretty crazy. Obviously, this is a rank 3 ultimate onto a level 1 dummy. Don't read too much into this damage, but I mean, it is going to be some crazy damage potentially in these situations because of the execute factor, and I think the base damage is actually, yeah, quite strong. I mean, it's 7 bullets, each one 172 damage base before any execute. No, sorry, that is with the execute, sorry. But yeah, I mean, if the target is missing like half HP, I mean, I would be interested to see if this just straight up executes half HP targets. That would be really crazy. I would hope not. I mean, you've seen the range. Imagine if I just fucking kill somebody at half HP here, that would be insane. Let's add some realistic values, armor values and HP values to this dummy, huh? Let's see. Give it 2000 HP. How much armor do I have? Give it 80 armor. So we'll pretend this is an opponent ADC. This is just without items anyway, right? So not even completely realistic. We'll put him at about half HP. Might take a while. Okay, here we go. Wait, this is gonna regen. Okay, well that's, you know, a decent amount of, that was like 15% of, no, 25% of his HP, right? Let's just try and do this before regens. There we go. Now that without items is pretty crazy. What is that AD ratio as well? 10%, potentially 40%. That is going to be a crazy execute. That is absolutely going to fuck somebody up from a mile away. So that is really crazy ultimate. And the crits, I forgot that the crits. Bullet damage scales the critical strike chance and critical strike damage. So, oh no, it doesn't even crit. It's just straight up guaranteed damage for each crit point you have. So how much? Let's see if I just buy a bunch of crit without building AD. What happens then? Let's get him to half HP again. Okay, didn't quite work out. Try that again. Okay, let's try this. An execute from half HP. And I don't have AD. Yeah, this guy's gonna be absolutely crazy. This guy's gonna annihilate squishes, I can tell you already. This is crazy. Anyway, this is about all I can show you right now, I think. I'm going to, I don't know, I think I'll try and get a Akshan gameplay at some point from the PvE, so you guys can check him out in a real game. Might be a little bit hard. I do have about 100 ping on PvE. And it can also be pretty hard to actually get new champions on the PvE. But I might try it at some point. I'm really excited to see what he's like in real games. I'm super hyped for him to reach the live servers for sure. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe. That would be really kind. I would really appreciate that. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.